Good morning to Mrs. Burke, Miss Carino, Mrs. Hazel, and Mrs. Roman's class. Continuing to read from RJ Palacio's Wonder, reading with courtesy of the author and the publisher. Starting on page 131. The Egyptian Tomb. Over the next month, August and I hung out a lot after school, either at his house or my house. August's parents even invited Mom and me over for dinner a couple of times. I overheard them talking about fixing Mom up on a blind date with August's Uncle Ben. On the day of the Egyptian Museum exhibit, we were all really excited and kind of giddy. It had snowed the day before, not as much as it had snowed over Thanksgiving break, but still, snow is snow. The gym was turned into a giant museum with everyone's Egyptian artifact displayed on a table with a little caption card explaining what the thing was. Most of the artifacts were really great, but I have to say I really think mine and August were the best. My sculpture of Anubis looked pretty real, and I had even used real gold paint on it. And August had made his step pyramid out of sugar cubes. It was 2 feet high and 2 feet long, and he had spray painted the cubes with this kind of fake sand paint or something. It looked awesome. We all dressed up in Egyptian costumes. Some of the kids were Indiana Jones type archaeologists. Some of them dressed up like pharaohs. August and I dressed up as mummies. Our faces were covered except 2 little holes for the nose and 1 little hole for the mouth. When the parents showed up, they all lined up in the hallway in front of the gym. Then we were told we could go to get our parents, and each kid got to take his or her parent on a flashlight tour through the dark gym. August and I took our moms around together. We stopped at each exhibit, explaining what it was, talking in whispers and answering questions. Since it was dark, we used our flashlights to illuminate the artifacts while we were talking. Sometimes, for dramatic effect, we would hold the flashlights under our chin while we were explaining something in detail. It was so much fun, hearing all those whispers in the dark, seeing all the lights zigzagging around the dark room. At one point, I went over to get a drink at the water fountain. I had to take the mummy wrap off my face. "Hey, Summer," said Jack, who came over to talk to me. He was dressed like the man from the Mummy. Cool costume. "Thanks. Is the other mummy August?" "Yeah." "Hey, do you know why August is mad at me?" "Uh-huh," I nodded. "Can you tell me?" "No." He nodded. He seemed bummed. I told him I wouldn't tell you," I explained. "That's so weird," he said. "I have no idea why he's mad at me all of a sudden. None. Can you at least give me a hint?" I looked over to where August was across the room, talking to our moms. I wasn't about to break my solid oath that I wouldn't tell anyone what he overheard on Halloween, but I felt bad for Jack. Bleeding scream, I whispered in his ear. Then I walked away. Part 4. Jack. Now here's my secret. It is very simple. It is only with one's heart that one can see clearly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. From Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince. The call. So in August, my parents got this call from Mr. Tushman, the middle school director, and my mom said, "Maybe he calls all the new students to welcome them," then he said. And my dad said, "That's a lot of kids he'd be calling." So my mom called him back, and I could hear her talking to Mr. Tushman on the phone. This is exactly what she said. "Oh, hi, Mr. Tushman. This is Amanda Will, returning your call." Pause. "Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. He is looking forward to it." Pause. "Yes." Pause. "Yeah." Pause. "Oh, sure." Long pause. "Oh, uh-huh." Pause. "Well, that's so nice of you to say." Pause. "Sure. Oh, wow. Oh," super long pause. "I see, of course. I'm sure he will. Let me write it down." "Got it. I'll call you after I've had a chance to talk to him, okay?" Pause. "No, thank you for thinking of him. Bye-bye." And when she hung up, I was like, "What's up? What did he say?" And Mom said, "Well, it's actually very flattering, but kind of sad, too." See, there's this boy who's starting middle school this year, and he's never been in a real school environment because he was homeschooled. So Mr. Tushman talked to some of the lower school teachers to find out who they thought were some of the really, really great kids coming into 5th grade. And the teachers must have told him that you were an especially nice kid, which I already knew, of course. So Mr. Tushman is wondering if he could count on you to sort of shepherd this new boy around a bit. "Like let him hang out with me?" I said. "Exactly." He said he called it being a welcome buddy. "But why me?" "I told you, your teachers told Mr. Tushman that you were the kind of guy who is known for being a good egg. I mean, I'm so proud that they think so highly of you." "Why is it sad?" "What do you mean? You said it's flattering but kind of sad too." Oh, Mom nodded. Well, apparently this boy has some kind of, I guess there's something wrong with his face or something like that. Not sure. Maybe it was an accident. Mr. Tushman said he'd explain a bit more when you come to the school next week. School doesn't start until September. He wants you to meet this kid before school starts. Do I have to? Mom looked a little bit surprised. Well, no, of course not, she said, but it would be a nice thing to do, Jack. If I don't have to do it, I said, I don't want to do it. Can you at least think about it? I'm thinking about it and I don't want to do it. Well, I'm not going to force you, she said, but at least think about it some more, okay? I'm not calling Mr. Tushman back until tomorrow, so just sit with it a bit. I mean, Jack, I really don't think it is that much to ask that you spend a little extra time with some new kid. It's not just that he's a new kid, Mom, I answered. He's deformed. That's a terrible thing to say, Jack. He is, Mom. You don't even know who it is. Yeah, I do, I said, because I knew the second she started talking about him that it was this kid named August. Carvel. I remember seeing him for the first time in front of the Carvel on Amesford Avenue when I was about 5 or 6. Me and Veronica, my babysitter, were sitting on the bench outside the store with Jamie, my baby brother, who was sitting in his stroller facing us. I guess I was busy eating my ice cream cone because I didn't even notice the people who sat down next to us. Then at one point I turned my head to suck the ice cream out of the bottom of the cone, and that's when I saw him, August. He was sitting right next to me. I know it wasn't cool, but I kind of went, ah, when I saw him, because I honestly got scared. I thought he was wearing a zombie mask or something. It was the kind of, you say when you're watching a scary movie and the bad guy just jumps out of the bushes. Anyway, I know it wasn't nice of me to do that, and the kid didn't hear me. I know his sister did. Jack, we have to go, said Veronica. She had gotten up and was turning the stroller around because Jamie, who was obviously just noticing the kid too, was about to say something embarrassing. So I jumped up kind of suddenly, like a bee had landed on me, and followed Veronica as she zoomed away. I could hear the kid's mom saying softly behind us, okay, guys, I think it's time to go. And I turned around to look at them one more time. The kid was licking his ice cream cone. The mom was picking up his scooter, and the sister was glaring at me like she was going to kill me. I looked away quickly. Veronica, what's wrong with that kid? I whispered. Hush, boy, she said, her voice angry. I love Veronica, but when she got mad, she got mad. Meanwhile, Jamie was practically spilling out of his stroller trying to get another look as Veronica pushed him away. But Veronica, said Jamie. You boys are very naughty, said Veronica as we were further down the block, staring like that. I didn't mean to, I said. Veronica, said Jamie. Us leaving like that, Veronica was muttering. Oh, Lord, that poor lady. I tell you, boys, every day we should thank the Lord for our blessings. You hear me? Veronica, what is it, Jamie? Is it Halloween? No, Jamie. Then why was that boy wearing a mask? Veronica didn't answer. Sometimes when she was mad about something, she would do that. He wasn't wearing a mask, I explained to Jamie. Hush, Jack, said Veronica. Why are you so mad, Veronica? I couldn't help asking. I thought this would make her angrier, but actually she shook her head. It was bad how we did that, she said, just like getting up like that, like we'd seen the devil. I was scared for what Jamie was going to say, you know. I didn't want him to say anything would hurt the little boy's feelings, but it was very bad us leaving like that. The mama knew what was going on. But we didn't mean it, I answered. Jack, sometimes you don't have to mean it to hurt someone. Jack, sometimes you don't have to mean to hurt someone. You understand? That was the first time I'd ever saw August in the neighborhood, at least that I remember. But I've seen him around ever since then, a couple of times in the playground, a few times in the park. He used to wear an astronaut helmet sometimes, but I always knew it was him underneath the helmet. All the kids in the neighborhood knew it was him. Everyone has seen August at some point or another. We all knew his name, though he didn't know ours. And when I've seen him, I try to remember what Veronica said, but it's hard. It's hard not to sneak a second look. It's hard to act normal when you see him. Why, I changed my mind. Who else did Mr. Tushman call? I asked Mom later that night. Did he tell you? He mentioned Julian and Charlotte. Julian, I said. Why Julian? Used to be friends with Julian. Mom, that was like in kindergarten. Julian's the biggest phony there is, and he's trying so hard to be popular all the time. Well, said Mom, at least Julian agreed to help this kid out. Got to give him credit for that. I didn't say anything because she was right. What about Charlotte? I asked. Is she doing it too? Yes, Mom said. Of course she is. Charlotte's such a goody two-shoes, I answered. Boy, Jack, said Mom, you seem to have a problem with everybody these days. It's just that, I started. Mom, you have no idea what this kid looks like. I can imagine. No, you can't. You've never seen him. I have. It might not even be who you're thinking it is. Trust me, it is. And I'm telling you, it's really, really bad. He's deformed, Mom. His eyes are like down here, pointing to my cheeks. And he has no ears. And his mouth is like... Jamie had walked into the kitchen to get a juice box from the fridge. Ask Jamie, I said. Right, Jamie? Remember the kid we saw in the park after school last year? The kid named August, the one with the face? Oh, that kid, said Jamie, his eyes opening wide. He gave me a nightmare. Remember, Mommy, that nightmare about the zombies from last year? I thought that was from watching a scary movie, answered Mom. No, said Jamie, it was from seeing that kid. When I saw him, I was like, ah! And I ran away. Wait a minute, said Mom, getting serious. Did you do that in front of him? I couldn't help it, said Jamie, kind of whining. Of course you could help it, Mom scolded. Guys, I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed in what I'm hearing here. And she looked like how she sounded. I mean, honestly, just a little boy, just like you. Can you imagine how he felt to see you running away from him? Jamie screaming. It wasn't a scream, argued Jamie. It was like an ah! He put his hands on his cheeks and started running around the kitchen. Come on, Jamie, said Mom angrily. I honestly thought both my boys were more sympathetic than that. What's sympathetic, said Jamie, who was only going into second grade. You know exactly what I mean by sympathetic, Jamie, said Mom. He's just so ugly, Mommy, said Jamie. Hey, Mom yelled. I do not like that word. Jamie, just get your juice box. I want to talk to Jack alone for a second. Look, Jack, said Mom as soon as he left, and I knew she was about to give me a whole speech. Okay, I'll do it, I said, which completely shocked her. You will? Yes. So I can call Mr. Tushman? Yes, Mom. I said yes. Mom smiled. I knew you'd rise to the occasion, kiddo. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Jackie. She messed up my hair. So here's why I changed my mind. It wasn't so I wouldn't have to hear Mom give me the whole lecture. And it wasn't to protect this August kid from Julian, who I knew would be a jerk about the whole thing. It was because when I heard Jamie talking about how he'd run away from August going, ah, I suddenly felt really bad. The thing is, there were always going to be kids like Julian who are jerks. But if a little kid like Jamie, who's usually a nice kid, can be that mean, then a kid like August doesn't stand a chance in middle school. 4 things. First of all, you have to get used to his face. The first couple of times I was like, whoa, I'm never going to get used to this. But then after about a week, I was like, it's not so bad. Second of all, he's actually a cool dude. I mean, he's pretty funny. Like the teacher will say something and August will whisper something funny to me that no one else hears and totally make me crack up. He's also just overall a nice kid. Like he's easy to hang out with and talk to and stuff. Third of all, he's really smart. I thought he'd be behind everyone because he'd never gone to school before. But in most things, he's way ahead of me. I mean, maybe he's not as smart as Charlotte or Ximena, but he's up there. And unlike Charlotte or Ximena, he lets me cheat off him if I really need to. They've only done it a couple of times. He also lets me copy his homework once, but though we both got in trouble for it after class. The 2 of you got the exact same answers wrong on yesterday's homework, Ms. Rubin said, looking at both of us like she was waiting for an explanation. I didn't know what to say because the explanation could have been, oh, that's because I copied August's homework, but August lied to protect me. He was like, oh, that's because we did our homework together last night, which wasn't true at all. Well, doing homework together is a good thing, Ms. Rubin answered, but you're supposed to still do it separately, okay? You could work side by side if you want to, but you can't actually do your homework together, okay? Got it. After we left the classroom, I said, dude, thanks for letting me do that. And he was like, no problem. That was cool. Fourthly, now that I know him, I would say I actually do want to be friends with August. At first, I admit it. I was only friendly to him because Mr. Tushman asked me to be especially nice and all that. But now I would choose to hang out with him. He laughs at all my jokes, and I kind of feel like I can tell August anything. He's a good friend. Like if all the guys in the 5th grade were lined up against the wall and I got to choose anyone I wanted to hang out with, I would choose August. We will continue reading Wonder by RJ Palacio.